Today's news highlights 20250820. Date August 20th, 2025. Republic of China August 20th, 114. Time cutoff point, 1500 hours on the same day. News highlights 49-year-old socialite Guan Ying and his wife Science CEO launched the podcast Life is Cooked, revealing that she is in the early menopause period, suffering from insomnia, hot and cold, emotional instability and weight control. She admitted that she clearly felt the pressure of aging after the age of 35, and now she is improving with hormone therapy and weight training, hoping to increase muscle and bone density. Nutritionist Wu Yingrong reminded that during menopause, estrogen decreases, metabolism slows down, and being thin increases the risk, so you should pay attention to BMI, waist circumference, and muscle mass. The diet recommends eating vegetables and protein first, then starch and fruits, and combining resistance, aerobic and stretching exercises to maintain health. News highlights cauliflower is known as a health protective shield and contains sulforaphane, indoles, and vitamin C and other nutrients, which have anti-cancer, antioxidant, heart protecting, and sugar controlling effects. Studies have shown that cruciferous vegetables can reduce the risk of breast and bladder cancer recurrence and help control blood sugar. It is beneficial for people of different ages. Elders. It can protect the heart and joints, anti-aging, and detoxification for mothers, and can enhance immunity and concentration for children. Nutritionists recommend stir-frying or steaming for a short time to retain the active ingredients, and combine them with protein or healthy fats for better absorption, and take them weekly 3 to 5 times is most appropriate. News highlights pineapple is coming to an end in the production season, and health expert Chen Yuqing reminds you to grasp it if you want to eat it. She pointed out that pineapple is rich in vitamins B1, C, potassium and citric acid, which can promote metabolism, eliminate fatigue, antioxidant and regulate blood pressure, which is beneficial to cardiovascular and immunity. Bromelain can also aid digestion, anti-inflammation, and relieve respiratory and joint discomfort. She shared how to make homemade pineapple peel water. Wash the organic pineapple peel, add water, and boil for 20 minutes. Let it cool before drinking. It has diuretic, heat-relieving, anti-cancer and anti-hypertensive effects, and can also be used to make soup to make the soup sweeter. News highlights U.S. President Trump met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and many European leaders at the White House on the 18th. And the two sides had a harmonious atmosphere and discussed solutions to the Russia-Ukraine war. Trump announced that he would promote trilateral talks between the United States, Russia, and Ukraine, and Zelensky also expressed his willingness to have unconditional dialogue with Putin. NATO Secretary General Rutte and Finnish President Stubb both emphasized security as a core issue, but the specific plan has yet to be negotiated. Zelensky revealed that the United States has committed to assisting Ukraine's security and may provide about $900 billion in military solutions, including aircraft and air defense systems. He thanked his allies for their support and had a long talk with Trump on the border map, saying that the territorial issue would eventually be negotiated directly with Putin. News highlights the Central Election Commission announced that a referendum on the resumption of nuclear power and a recall vote on 7 legislators will be held this Saturday. According to the referendum law, the referendum must be passed only when there are more votes in favor than in disagreement, and more than a quarter of all voters, and the number of voters in the country is 200,02091, with a threshold of about 500,0523 votes. As for the recall of legislators, according to the Public Offices Election and Recall Law, it must have more votes in favor than disagree votes, and it must reach more than a quarter of the total number of electors in the original electoral district to be established. The Central Election Commission also announced the threshold for the recall of legislators in each region for the public's reference. News highlights China's job market continues to deteriorate, and youth unemployment rates are rising again. The National Bureau of Statistics announced that the unemployment rate for students aged 16 to 24 reached 17.8% in July, a new high since August 2024 and a surge of 3.3 percentage points from the previous month. The unemployment rate for those aged 25 to 29 rose to 6.9%, while for those aged 30 to 59, it remained at 3.9%. In the same month, the national urban unemployment rate rose to 5.2%, hitting a 4-month high. The outside world questioned that the official data was too conservative, and the actual situation may be even more serious. Scholars pointed out that if a large number of lying flat people and gnawing old people are included, the actual unemployment rate of young people may reach the highest 46.5%, which is much higher than the official data. News highlights obesity specialist Cai Mingjia pointed out that dieting to lose weight is easy to gain weight, and the key is to establish a correct diet ratio and a healthy lifestyle. He explained that dieting can lead to a decrease in basal metabolic rate, muscle loss, and psychological stress, which can lead to binge eating and weight gain. It is recommended to follow the Harvard Healthy Plate, half fruits and vegetables, 1/4 protein and starch, avoid refined carbohydrates, and choose natural foods such as brown rice, whole grains, and beans. Eating out people can also control their diet through the proportion of plates, and when socializing, they adopt 3 strategies. prevention, compensation, and relaxation to achieve the goal of stable weight loss without rebound. News highlights Intel will receive $20 billion in investment from Japan's SoftBank, and may also receive support from the US government in the future to inject momentum into the transformation. The industry is optimistic that UMC will benefit from the 12nm process cooperation plan with Intel in Arizona, USA, which will not only help UMC enter advanced processes, but also comply with the US manufacture in local policy, which is expected to strive for tariff incentives and enhance order competitiveness. The legal person pointed out that UMC has major customers such as Qualcomm and MediaTek, and if it can advance to the process of cooperation with Intel, operational growth can be expected, and the cooperation between the two parties is expected to be mass-produced in 2027, with huge market potential. News highlights Su Liling, the wife of the general manager of Taiwan Glass, 1802, declared the transfer of 400 shareholdings, estimated to cash out about 1,438 yuan, and held about 2,010 shares after the transaction, with a market value of about 7,227 yuan. Taiwan Glass has recently benefited from strong demand for low decay and low CTE glass fiber fabrics, and its stock price doubled to 35.95 yuan from late July to the 19th, hitting a high price in the past 3 years. The company is investing 2.25 billion yuan to renovate its Dawin and Lukang plants, which are expected to be put into operation in mid-2026, with the goal of reaching a global market share of 40% in 2026, ranking second in the world. News highlights Nobel Prize winner in economics Krugman warned that although the AI investment boom supports U.S. economic growth, there is a risk of a short-term recession. U.S. data center electricity consumption has increased sharply, accounting for 4.4% of national power generation in 2023 and is expected to reach 12% in 2028. Krugman compared the prosperity of AI to the telecom bubble of 1999, warning that if the return on investment is insufficient, the economy may fall into recession, and short-term risks cannot be ignored. News highlights U.S. Secretary of Commerce Lutnick said on the 19th that the United States hopes that Intel will succeed locally and avoid over-reliance on Taiwan's chip manufacturing, and confirmed that the government will obtain Intel's equity through subsidy funds from the original chip bill to benefit taxpayers. He emphasized that this move is not to interfere with corporate governance, but to convert subsidies from the Biden era into equity returns. According to industry analysis, Intel has received help from SoftBank's investment, but it is still stable compared to TSMC's Competition Qualification Bureau, and SoftBank's $20 billion investment is still limited compared to TSMC's annual capital expenditure. News highlights lawyer Lin Yunzhen attracted attention because of her short-lived relationship with Liu Kaiyuan and the turmoil of having children, but she has come out of the low ebb, transformed into a single mother and established a personal law firm, hoping to balance professionalism and motherhood. Lin Yunzhen originally studied in the English department of National Taiwan Normal University, worked as a cram school teacher and trade specialist, and was inspired by her family's lawsuit to come into contact with the law, and returned to school at the age of 34 to study law, and finally obtained a lawyer's qualification as she wished. She emphasized that although she has encountered emotional setbacks and workplace disputes, she will follow her own path with firm steps, hoping to become a lawyer trusted by her clients and let her children know that her mother has worked hard. News highlights in June this year, the Taipei District Prosecutor's Office investigated the case of the Spirit Bone Pagoda fraud. 26 Internet celebrity Xiantao lawyer Li Yujin is suspected of being a fraud group military advisor, not only disclosed the investigation secrets he learned to the fraud group members during the investigation, but also suspected of helping the detained fraud group members to contact the outside world and sell the illegal gains under his name as soon as possible to evade prosecution and seizure. Beijing inspection today. 20 Li Yujin was prosecuted on suspicion of money laundering and non-civil servants leaking secrets other than national defense, and specifically sought punishment more than 1 year in prison. News highlights Chen Yaoxun's egg yolk cake has become popular since the Mid-Autumn Festival in 2020 due to limited sales, known as the Hermes of the egg yolk cake world, and this year the single piece has been raised to 112.5 yuan, triggering a rush to buy. However, some netizens discovered that the clerk took the initiative to sell the remaining egg yolk cake to his wife, which sparked a discussion about whether the altar fell. Although there are still loyal customers who love its puff pastry and buttery aroma, some consumers believe that the quality is not as good as the egg yolk pastries of the same price such as Zhonghua Fuji Fang and Taichung Fuji Cake. The store said that the daily shipment is based on orders first, and the remaining quantity will be released for on-site sale, with a shelf life of 5 days at room temperature and 10 days in the refrigerator. News highlights 47-year-old actor Wu Jianhao was revealed to have a new relationship after 7 years of divorce. He and his new love not only traveled many times, but also recently attended the wedding of the daughter of Indonesian pastor Philippe Manjafa, and was recognized by his mother. The woman has an outstanding temperament and looks like actress Melody Yen Yu, and the interaction is intimate, which has attracted attention. Wu Jianhao married Singapore's billionaire Xi Zhenshan in 2013, and the marriage changed a year after the marriage, and the two sides choked each other in the air, and officially divorced in 2018. News highlights: anonymous revelations have recently circulated on Weibo, saying that Chen Xiao and Mao Xiaotong are about to get married, which has sparked heated discussions among netizens. The two have collaborated on 4 works, The Legend of the Condor Heroes, The Song of Han Love and The Legend of Yongxiang, and were accused of 4 matches. In this regard, Mao Xiaotong's studio strongly clarified late at night, fake. Ms. Mao Xiaotong is unmarried and single. Not together and never together. And attached a screenshot to refute the rumors. The two have not intersected recently, and netizens called it a model for refuting rumors in domestic entertainment. News highlights: the Ministry of Economic Affairs pointed out that Taiwan has completely stopped nuclear power in May this year, but the electricity price is still lower than that of Japan and South Korea, which use nuclear power, with residential electricity prices of 2.77 yuan/kWh, 3.96 yuan/kWh and 7.73 yuan/kWh respectively, and industrial electricity prices are also lower than those of Japan and South Korea. The Ministry of Economic Affairs emphasized that nuclear power may not bring low electricity prices. However, this statement has sparked heated discussions among netizens, questioning that Taiwan's cheap electricity prices are mainly due to the state-owned system, and Taipower's losses need to be subsidized with taxpayers' money. News highlights: internet celebrity curator Chen Zhihan traveled live to China, which attracted a lot of attention and appeared on CCTV, but he revealed that he lost millions of yuan every time. The curator said that although the video is popular on Bilibili and Douyin, he himself cannot open an account, and he is also prohibited from doing business and participating in military parades, and is regarded as a special person by Chinese officials. He admitted that it is difficult for him to go to China for live broadcasting, high expenses and boycotts of gyms, and he will be unable to take on business trips, so he may suspend his trip to China to avoid continued losses. News highlights: affected by U.S. tariffs, Taiwan's machinery and machine tool industry is facing operational difficulties, and many manufacturers have implemented 4 days off and 3 days off without paid leave to reduce costs. Bait Machinery originally started unpaid leave and resumed normal work on August 18, but the notice has not yet been withdrawn. Qingtai Group and domestic component factories are also planning to reduce shifts or lay off employees. According to statistics from the Taichung City Labor Bureau, as of the 18th, 43 companies and 969 people in the city have implemented reduced shifts and breaks, of which 891 are related to tariffs. At the same time, the industry survives through product transformation, research and development of new equipment, and holding strategies, indicating that tariffs and exchange rate pressures have had a significant impact on Taiwan's industry. News highlights: the recent stock price of PCB benchmark stock Jinju, 8,358, was strong, but on August 19, a default of 1,093 yuan broke out, which is the 7th default case in the TPX market this year and the 8th default case of a listed company. Jinju's stock price rose sharply in recent days, falling to the limit of 166.5 yuan on the 19th, and closed at 168 yuan, down 8.9%. TPX lists Jinju as a disposal stock, and adopts manual control to match the business for 10 business days from the 19th, and requires securities firms to collect the full purchase price or financing margin for large orders to control transaction risks. News highlights: physician Chu Xiaochen reminded that the more health supplements are not the better, too much may harm the body. The 6 common nutrients include vitamin B12, folic acid, vitamin B6, iron, zinc, and fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, K. Excess B12 may increase the risk of cancer. Too much folic acid will mask B12 deficiency, too much B6 will cause numbness in the hands, too much iron can easily cause constipation and damage the liver and heart, excessive zinc will affect copper absorption, and fat-soluble vitamins can easily accumulate in organs. It is recommended to assess your own needs before supplementing and consult a doctor if necessary to avoid repeated or excessive intake. News highlights: about 1.6–1.7 new colorectal cancer cases in Taiwan every year, and the age of onset is gradually decreasing, and even patients in their 20s appear. Experts point out that it may be related to dietary habits, changes in gut microflora, genetics, and ignoring early symptoms. The 28-year-old engineer surnamed Wu sought medical attention because his bowel movements were thin and often felt unclean, and his weight dropped by 8 kilograms within half a year. Doctors remind that abnormal bowel movements or unclean sensations cannot be ignored and should be examined early. News highlights: the Kaohsiung Daily Reading Bureau removed the book from the shelves because it used the word little brother in a comic and called on Taiwanese publications to avoid using Chinese language, advocating that translations should consider culture and local customs, such as suggesting changing it to Xiaonian. This move sparked discussions among netizens. One side believes that little brother is originally a Taiwanese usage, and little brother is a Chinese word. The other side is worried that excessive use of Chinese language may lead to cultural loss, believing that it deserves serious attention. News highlights: the 2025 Taiwan Michelin Guide announced the full list yesterday, 19th, and Tainan once again has no restaurant to win stars this year, which has sparked heated discussions among netizens. Many people think that the Michelin standard is too mysterious, and even question that Tainan cuisine itself does not need the blessing of stars, while others point out that the star rating may not suit everyone's taste. Although it has not won the stars, there are still 30 restaurants in Tainan that have been recommended by Bib Gourmand, including local popular delicacies such as nameless salted porridge, mutton soup, danzi noodles, rice cakes, and milkfish. News highlights 47-year-old Wu Jianhao divorced 7 years later, and there were new developments in the relationship. After the scandal with Chinese actress Yu Shuxin, he was recently revealed to be dating a young mature woman who looks like Melody, and the two have traveled together. The scene shows that the two interact intimately and generously, and the elegant and low-key female companion matches Wu Jianhao's temperament, making netizens speculate whether they have officially dated. News highlights Soda Green sued former agent Lin Weige for embezzling nearly 4.7 billion yuan in concert and copyright income, and paid 2,355 yuan in the first trial, but Lin still appealed and was unwilling to pay, causing dissatisfaction among the group members. Lin's high-pressure cooperation in the past 15 years has caused traumatic stress disorder among the members, and lead singer Qing Feng even had the idea of retiring due to a hidden illness of losing his voice. In the final show of the Kaohsiung tour on the 10th of this month, Qing Feng publicly shared his retirement plan, not as a joke, but due to long-term throat stress. News highlights Toshiba, a major Japanese home appliance and semiconductor manufacturer, was delisted from the Tokyo Stock Exchange in December 2023, ending its 74-year listing history. Toshiba was once a global pioneer in NAND flash memory and has a place in the fields of home appliances, TVs, and laptops, but since the 2010s, it has suffered a series of financial report fraud scandals and losses in the nuclear power business. In 2006, the failure to acquire Westinghouse's nuclear power business in the United States forced it to divest core assets such as NAND flash memory, home appliances, and personal computers. It was eventually privatized by a Japanese consortium, symbolizing the decline and transformation of the once diverse technology giants. News highlights Zheng Yuqin, the mayor of Sandaman Township in Pingdong County, was originally sentenced to 50 days of detention and 3 years of probation by the Pingdong District Court for breach of trust, and returned 56,000 yuan of illegal gains. The prosecution appealed the sentence to be too light, and the Kaohsiung High Court changed the sentence to 6 months in prison and 4 years of probation, during which he must receive protective custody and 2 sessions of rule of law education, and pay 10 yuan to the National Treasury. From August 2023 to August 2024, Zheng Nan used his official vehicle to engage in private trips on a total of 31 occasions, including sports, teaching, and travel, and instructed the organizer to write off the invoice. News highlights today, 8th, Taiwan is affected by high-level cold center low pressure, and convection is significant in some areas in the afternoon, and strong thunderstorms may occur. Former Meteorological Bureau Director Zheng Mingdian pointed out that the high-level cold center low pressure makes the upper air cold and the air heavy, increasing convection instability, but due to the strong Pacific high pressure and the slightly dry low-level level, the convection range and time are limited, reminding the public to pay attention to local thunderstorms. News highlights Australia will investigate whether the $6.5 billion economic agreement signed between the Pacific island nation of Nauru and China's China Rural Revitalization and Development Corporation violates security treaties. The agreement involves renewable energy, phosphate ore, fisheries, infrastructure, and other fields, but the company's background is unclear and lacks public records, raising doubts from the outside world. Analysts believe that the agreement may be political propaganda or exaggerated investment, and Australia is evaluating whether it touches Article 5 of the security treaty signed last year to ensure that major agreements in Nauru require Australia's consent first. News highlights the National Army conducted the Sea and Air Precision Ammunition Shooting Exercise in the Eastern Sea today, 20th, to demonstrate the joint combat capability of the sea and air, but at 5:34 a.m., a Patriot 2 missile self-detonated only 4 seconds after launch, and the second missile was launched normally 1 minute later. This accident is the first time since 2023 that the Patriot missile once again abnormally occurred during live-fire training, which has attracted attention. The analysis pointed out that missiles that have been in service for more than 20 years may self-destruct due to gunpowder aging or radar guidance failure. The military said it would investigate the incident, review system reliability and accelerate the renewal of old equipment. News highlights former CITIC Brothers cheerleading girl Kueh Kui, Zhang Weilin, and model husband Fan Zhang Yanfan have a red light in their marriage. Kueh was photographed taking her daughter Kueh Zhang to move into a suspected new home and celebrate her daughter's 3rd birthday in advance, but her husband was not seen throughout the whole process, and the relationship between husband and wife was suspected to be tense. She picked up her daughter from school and entered the residential community alone, and her itinerary was low-key, which attracted attention from the outside world to her family's movements. News highlights Anzuo, the only son of artists Sun Peng and De Ying, recently stopped work due to mental state adjustment and changed to a gym coach. De Ying responded for the first time today, 20th, saying that she was very satisfied with her son's relationship. Her girlfriend is not an entertainment industry or an internet celebrity, but an office job, she thinks that non-celebrities are more suitable for her son, and emphasized that Sun Ansuo is an adult, and it is normal life to have a girlfriend. News highlights 56-year-old Korean actress Yan Zhenghua recalled her anti-cancer experience in 2010, when she was at the peak of her career, but was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and her vocal cords were paralyzed after surgery, and she was unable to speak for 8 months. She admitted that at that time, because she was unmarried and had no children, she lacked family companionship, and felt lonely in the face of illness, so she resumed acting after active rehabilitation and training. Yan Zhenghua later returned to the music scene with a new album in 2016. Recently, she and Lee Yi filmed a vlog on YouTube to review their experiences back then, and they were still emotional and crying during the filming. In addition, she also participated in the Korean drama My Star Like Gold, and collaborated with Song Seung-hyun again after 10 years, which received praise from the audience after its premiere. News highlights internet celebrity curator Chen Zhihan recently admitted that he recently went to Shenzhen, mainland China for a live broadcast trip, but in fact, he did not make as much money as the outside world imagined, but was boycotted due to additional expenses in Taiwanese gyms, resulting in an overall loss of millions of yuan. He said that he wanted to open an account on Douyin and Bilibili, but was rejected by the local government on the grounds that Taiwan is something, thinking that he was a special person, resulting in not being able to receive any business cooperation. The curator confessed emotionally, saying that it is false to say that he is not sad, and believed that this may be his life, admitting that he would not go to China to conduct live travel broadcasts in the future, because he might starve to death first if he went on from one to another. News highlights actress Patty Ho has shifted her acting focus to China in recent years, and in March this year, she retweeted the Taiwan Must Return post on Weibo, which was seen as cooperating with the CCP's reunification remarks and triggered discussions in Taiwanese society. The Mainland Affairs Council and the Ministry of Culture have listed Patty Ho as the target of inspection and notified 20 artists including Wu Yang Nana, Zhang Xiaohan, Zhao Yaoding, Chen Qion, Chen Yangzi, etc. If there is no reply within the time limit, the investigation process will be initiated in accordance with the Cross-Strait People's Relations regulations and will be deemed to have abandoned the explanation. News highlights Lin was accused of embezzling tour remuneration and copyright fees in Taiwan and China totaling 4.7 billion yuan, and was awarded 2,355 yuan in the first trial, and Lin refused to pay and appealed. The group members revealed that they had been under pressure and bullying for a long time, causing post-traumatic stress disorder, and lead singer Qing Feng even had the idea of retiring due to loss of voice. Since 2019, Soda Green has been in court with Lin, and the pressure of many concerts is huge, and the members are still seeking medical treatment, indicating that past cooperation has had a profound impact on the psychological and health of the members. News highlights 47-year-old actor Wu Jianhao and his ex-wife Shi Zhenshan divorced 7 years later. A new relationship was reported. According to weekly reports, he was recently seen shopping malls with his new love of actress Melody Yanyu, and attended the wedding of the daughter of Indonesian pastor Philippe Manjafa. Wu Jianhao had a scandal with Chinese actress Yu Shuxin in the past, but the woman denied knowing him. Before the deadline, Wu Jianhao had not yet responded to the new relationship. News highlights internet celebrity Nina Santiago was recently recording a mukbang in Houston, USA, and another internet celebrity Patrick Blackwood was hit by a runaway SUV. Fortunately, the two were sent to the hospital without serious problems, and Nina had cuts on her face, hands, and feet. She said that this accident made her cherish the moment even more and reminded that life is too short and should not be wasted on resentment or anger. The female driver who caused the accident hardly remembers what happened, and the accident is still under investigation. News highlights U.S. Secretary of Commerce Lutnick is evaluating that chip manufacturers that require subsidies from the CHIPS and Science Act may be extended to Intel, Micron, TSMC, and Samsung in exchange for government shareholding. This move extends from the U.S. plan to take a 10% stake in Intel, and Lutnick emphasizes that it will not intervene in operations, but will create a new model of direct government intervention in enterprises. Although there have been government investments in the market in history, it is the first case of targeting semiconductor companies. TSMC declined to respond, while Micron, Samsung and the White House have not yet expressed their positions. News highlights the Taipei District Court continued the trial of the Jinghua City case yesterday, and the testimony of a number of witnesses was not conducive to former People's Party Chairman Kei Wen's. Chu Qingzhong, director of the Qi Foundation, admitted that he had delivered 300 yuan to Mayor Kei's office on behalf of Chen Yingzhu. Huang Haiking, CEO of Hitai Dakin, alleged that Keelung Deputy Mayor Chu Pailan had raised funds for the People's Party and arranged a donation of 30 yuan to Li Xiangling's campaign through connections. The prosecution pointed out that the testimony was consistent with the Excel workbook records obtained by the prosecution, including Chen Ying's 300 yuan, Su Yizhong 30 yuan and Chen Qingjing 1,500 yuan. News highlights the DPP's morale was frustrated after the 726 recall, and President Li Qiang recruited former Minister of the Interior Su Kuiyong to take over as Secretary General. Su admitted that he was reluctant to leave the political commentary program The First Braveness in the Country, which he had hosted for more than 2 years, but emphasized that soldiers have no right to choose the battlefield and must stand up when the party needs it. He stated that he will focus on uniting unity, strengthening party affairs, and promoting Taiwan's continuous progress to meet the challenges of the 2026 local elections and the 2028 presidential election. Su denied the so-called factional operation from the outside world, emphasized that the goal is for Taiwan to move forward, and called on the government and the opposition to cooperate to face domestic and foreign challenges together. News highlights: some netizens shared on threads yesterday that they witnessed a boy wearing a Chinese SWAT uniform in the Zhongshan Underground Mall in Taipei City, with a 5-star flag embroidered on his cuffs, accompanied by his parents. The original Po bluntly said that this move was exaggerated, criticizing that if you don't care about politics, politics will destroy life. The post sparked heated discussions, with many people commenting that this move was deliberately provoking the bottom line of Taiwanese people, while others questioned why parents did not let their children wear Taiwanese police uniforms, and even suspected that there was infiltration behind it. News highlights: the People's Party questioned judicial abuse, and the Legislative Yuan Caucus proposed to amend the criminal procedure law to delete colluding with accomplices or witnesses as a reason for detention, and required the prosecution to provide specific evidence and have no other alternative means before applying for detention. After the news was exposed, lawyer Chen Yuxin criticized that this move may give the defendants involved in the case the opportunity to collude and destroy evidence outside, which is tantamount to undermining the foundation of judicial prosecution, and sarcastically that criminals must thank the People's Party. News highlights: a 38-year-old man surnamed Xia was suspected of throwing betel nut residue at a small truck when he stopped at a red light while riding a motorcycle with his 4-year-old daughter, causing a 31-year-old driver surnamed Tong to chase and even attack with an angled steel frame, causing the girl to be overwhelmed by the motorcycle. Passenger Zhu Nu hurriedly picked up the girl to avoid danger. She was Xia Nan's ex-wife, and Tong Nan was her current boyfriend. The police arrived at the scene and brought Xia and Tong Yi back to the investigation for the crime of injury, but fortunately the girl only suffered minor injuries. News highlights: a drug-related case broke out in the entertainment industry. The actress surnamed C, known as the Gangster Princess and Extreme Daughter, was seized by the police at her home last year and was prosecuted for possession of second-degree drugs. Although the urine test was negative and showed no signs of application, the device was found to contain cannabis. During the trial at the Shilin District Court, woman C confessed to the crime, considering that she had no criminal record, good conduct, and needed to take care of her young children, and was sentenced to 30 days of detention, fined, and suspended for 2 years. News highlights: the Japan-Taiwan Exchange Association recently reminded tourists to pay attention to the risk of pickpockets, but unexpectedly, a more serious incident broke out recently. 2 Japanese women in their 20s were suspected of being imprisoned, sexually assaulted, and deprived of their passports and belongings by a man in his 30s. Asyong in Xindian, New Taipei. Asyong invited through a dating app, but refused to pay the fee after receiving him in the name of escort and sex trafficking, and even threatened to sell it to a sex place if he didn't comply, forced him to have sex many times, and finally stole about 70 yen. After the woman reported the case, the police arrested Asyong on August 7 and sent the whole case to the police for aggravated forced sexual intercourse and human trafficking. News highlights: the well-known travel internet celebrity couple Caiti Moss and Cai Shengsheng recently went to Shifen Old Street in New Taipei City to experience the Sky Lantern activity, and was heavily fined a total of 4 yuan by the Railway Bureau in accordance with the railway law after being reported for placing sky lanterns on the railway tracks according to the instructions of the operator. They then filmed an apology and reminded the public to abide by the regulations. After the news was exposed, some netizens turned up the picture of Lin Chiling and her family putting sky lanterns on the railway on her birthday last year, questioning why the same fine was not issued, and the incident sparked heated discussions. News highlights: a Taiwanese man in his 30s in New Taipei City is suspected of imprisoning and sexually assaulting 2 Japanese women who came to Taiwan to escort him in August this year. The man successively invited the 2 to Taiwan through dating apps, took away their passports and wallets, threatened them with selling them to sex venues if they didn't comply, forced them to have sex multiple times, and stole about 70 yen. After the incident, the 2 women escaped, sought help from the Japan-Taiwan Exchange Association and called the police. The police arrested the suspect on the 7th, seized his mobile phone and other evidence, and transferred the case to the Taipei District Prosecutor's Office for investigation on suspicion of aggravated forced sexual intercourse, obstruction of liberty, and violation of the Human Trafficking Prevention Act. News highlights: at about 11 o'clock in the middle of the night on the 19th in Kyushu, Shikoku, and Kansai regions of Japan, people witnessed the appearance of unknown light balls in the night sky, instantly illuminating the sky. Surveillance footage showed that the ball of light turned from green to orange, as bright as day, and some people also heard suspected explosions. Experts have determined that the fireball in the meteor may be caused by the burning of cosmic dust or asteroid fragments, and whether it fell into a meteorite is still to be confirmed. News highlights: Sanli Taiwan TV's new 8 o'clock Bayway Life will premiere tomorrow, 20th, and the plot is set in the well-known restaurant Yuan, depicting family entanglements and love-hate relationships. Xie Qinjun first married the junior sister Wang Lian in the play, and then married Yu Hong's daughter Chen Piki, which aroused the suspicion of the same senior brother. Wang Lian challenged the scene of jumping into the sea with a child, and for the first time, she filmed the splash of water in the sea, which made her sick to her stomach for a while. Yu Hong admitted that she was suppressed by Chen Piki's aura, and she couldn't catch the rhythm in the first tug-of-war scene. Huang Yurong transformed into the chairman's son, Dexin changed to a funny role, and Huang Shaokai was present to support. Screenwriter Lin Zhiyu said that each episode is designed with a hook to increase the tension of chasing the drama. The premiere cast is huge, including Xie Qinjun, Wang Lian, Chen Piki, Zhang Qiaobin, Yu Hong, Huang Yurong, Dexin, and others. News highlights: after Chen Xiao announced the end of his 7-year marriage with Chen Yangzi in February this year, there was recently news on the internet that he is suspected of receiving a certificate with Mao Xiaotong, but Mao Xiaotong's studio issued a statement last night to clarify, fake. Ms. Mao Xiaotong is unmarried and single, and has never dated Chen Xiao. The rumors originated from the internet, pointing out that first and second-tier actor couples plan to get married, and one of them is not the first marriage. Coupled with Chen Xiao and Mao Xiaotong are both from the Central Academy of Drama, and have collaborated in the past. The Legend of the Condor Heroes, The Song of Han Love, The Legend of Yungxiang, and The Legend of Yungxiang 2. In addition, the character setting of the two and the background of Mao Xiaotong's ex-boyfriend and Chen Xiao's wedding groomsmen also added to the gossip, but the news has been clarified, and netizens generally believe that it is unlikely. News highlights: Lin Shibi, a travel expert in Japan, reminded travelers to pay attention to the DCC, dynamic currency conversion, trap of swiping cards. Although it is convenient to choose Taiwan dollars for payment, but you need to pay additional invisible handling fees, so it is recommended to choose Japanese currency. He pointed out that DCC is less common for low-value consumption, and inductive card swiping may also jump out of the option. For example, if you choose the charcoal grilled eel Fuji Yurakucho store, the handling fee is 4.5%, and you can save 208 yuan by choosing Japanese yen. Nishi Ginza department store saved 583 yuan. After deducting visa fees and rebates, you can still net earn 3%, and you will lose overseas consumption rebates if you choose Taiwan dollars. News highlights: the $1 million YouTuber 77 Boss channel suddenly disappeared a few days ago, and it was later confirmed that it had been stolen, and the other party even opened a live broadcast to discuss virtual currency, with as many as 5 viewers, exceeding his usual live broadcast. He revealed his helplessness on IG and said that he had contacted YouTube officials to seek the resumption of the channel. Some netizens speculated that it may be related to his previous active reporting of fraud. News highlights: the housekeeper with 15 years of cleaning experience pointed out that the bathroom toothbrush cup is more likely to hide dirt and dirt than the toilet, and the humid and dark environment makes the bacteria dripping from the toothbrush multiply and even emit a foul odor. Experts recommend that toothbrushes should be hung to dry, or if toothbrush cups are used, they need to be brushed and disinfected regularly, and water or baking soda alone is not enough to prevent bacterial growth. Netizens also shared how to clean them with denture cleaning tablets, dishwashers, or vinegar hot water. In addition, home cleaning experts provide tips for removing scratches, deodorizing, and making homemade mold removal formulas. Regularly cleaning toothbrush cups and keeping the bathroom dry can reduce the risk of bacteria and mold and protect the health of your family. News highlights: in the face of the failure of the first wave of recalls on July 26, the recall group actively reorganized, focusing on personal tactics and targeting the 3 Blue Committee members of Taichung City, Yan Quanheng, Yang Qianjing, and Zhang Qichen. The Blue Committee is confident that voters will make wise choices, emphasize political inquiry and construction performance, and call for rational voting to avoid internal friction. The second wave of recalls totaled 7 cases, all of which were Kuomintang legislators, and were held on the same day as the referendum on restarting the 3rd nuclear power plant. News highlights: People's Party legislator Huang Qiaoqing and others proposed a draft amendment to the criminal procedure law, proposing to delete colluding with accomplices or witnesses as a reason for detention, and change it to detention only when there are no other alternatives and there are specific facts that determine that there is a possibility of escaping or destroying evidence, which has sparked heated discussions. Lawyer Lin Heekan criticized that this move may allow criminals such as the nanny in the case to collude to escape to the full as long as they guarantee not to flee, pointing out that it is helping criminals open the door and take the main road, and said that the purpose of amending the law is to save former chairman K. Wen's, which has aroused social attention and controversy. News highlights: on August 23, 2025, the 7th lunar month ghost door opens. The taboo of the ghost month has attracted attention again. Yang Dengrong, chairman of the Taichung City Famous Numerology Education Association, reminded that people belonging to snakes, pigs, tigers, and monkeys should pay special attention to clothing and travel habits to avoid attracting adverse magnetic fields. The 5 major clothing taboos of ghost moon include avoiding all black, all white, all red monochrome, overly revealing or ripped clothing, wedding dresses, and disheveled hair or dressing up as ghosts. If you wear special clothing during the day, you should avoid cemeteries, hospitals, and other yin places, and try to choose bright and safe places at night. Yang Dengsong emphasized, it is better to believe in what is there than not to believe in nothing, and maintaining simple dress can reduce psychological fear and discomfort. News highlights: the daughter of the founding veteran of the Bamboo Union Gang and artist C was recently seized at her residence in Baishi City, and the Shilin District Prosecutor's Office prosecuted her for violating the Drug Hazard Prevention Act. Although the urine test did not detect any drug ingredients, the court found that woman C was illegally possessing the second-degree drug marijuana, but the amount was only residue and there was no risk of proliferation. Woman C has the title of Extreme Daughter, got married in 2018 and had a daughter. News highlights: Wenqi County Minhe Junior High School Siwi branch returned from Kaohsiung off-site training on the 15th. The van traveled north through the Guantian section of National Highway No. 3 and crashed into an engineering anti-collision vehicle at high speed for unknown reasons, injuring 8 people in the car, including 3 young players were thrown out of the car. The most seriously injured student had a large piece of flesh cut off from his left thigh, and his father hoped to remedy it with his own flesh. The co-pilot, a student surnamed Chen, was also seriously injured and intubated, and partially recovered after treatment. The accident prompted parents to call on education units to pay attention to the hard work of grassroots coaches, hire professional drivers and improve safety measures to avoid a recurrence of the tragedy. News highlights: a man surnamed Li in Hsinchu City lost control of his emotions after being refused to borrow a toilet from a breakfast shop in the early morning of the 16th, smashed the store and beat the clerk. When the police arrived at the scene, the man was emotionally unstable and only verbally warned him to let him go, and Li Nan returned to the store twice to cause trouble. Scholar Shen Rongqian directly criticized Hsinchu City as like Gotham City ruled by the underworld, and the safety of the store cannot be guaranteed, calling on the city government and the police to strengthen governance and protect the public. News highlights: Douyin internet celebrity and GE Fragmented Thoughts Pan Junan recently held a press conference on rumors of domestic violence, economy, and drugs, admitting that he attacked his girlfriend and sister-in-law due to a career dispute in February this year, and bowed to Sister Anne's family and apologized. He emphasized that he was not involved in a drug incident, and that the cause of Anne's death was drug overdose, and said that mobile phone conversation records can prove that he did not commit murder or fraud. Pan Junan believes that it is wrong to beat a woman and publicly apologizes for this. News highlights: a study that followed 18 years found that people who regularly ate green leafy vegetables, berries, nuts, whole grains, fish, and olive oil had slower body and brain aging and fewer chronic diseases. Studies have pointed out that a healthy diet can reduce chronic inflammation, antioxidants, improve gut flora, and reduce the risk of hypertension, diabetes, and dementia. Conversely, regular consumption of processed meats, sugary drinks, or fried foods can accelerate the accumulation of disease. Maintaining a balanced diet is an important key to delaying aging. News highlights: foreign media reported that the United States plans to obtain equity in semiconductor companies applying for subsidies under the CHIP Act, which may include TSMC. Minister of Economic Affairs Guo Zhihui said that this information needs to be further confirmed, and the extent of the impact needs to be assessed by experts, and it is currently impossible to make a conclusion. Foreign news pointed out that after Nvidia and Supermicro agreed to hand over 15% of sales revenue to China to the United States, Commerce Secretary Lutnick also confirmed that he was negotiating with Intel to invest 10% in shares and convert shares with subsidies. TSMC and related companies did not respond. News highlights: tropical depression TD15 did not form Typhoon Lingling as expected, and continued to weaken due to unfavorable environment. Meteorological expert Lindeen said that a neotropical disturbance will form off the eastern coast of the Philippines tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, 21st and 22nd. The U.S. model predicts that it will pass through the south side of the Bashi Strait and will be closest to Taiwan on Saturday, 23rd, with a high probability of strengthening into a typhoon. The European model believes that it will become a tropical depression at most, which still needs to be observed. The Central Meteorological Administration reminded that the development trend of the low-pressure system in the eastern waters from the South China Sea to the Philippines this week is uncertain, affecting southern Taiwan, and there will be local thunderstorms in the eastern and mountainous areas in the afternoon. News highlights: the 87-year-old mainland calligraphy master Fan Zhang recently reported that his family had been repeatedly encroached upon by his fourth wife Su Meng, with a total value of about 2 billion yuan, about 8.3 billion Taiwan dollars. Looking back at Fan Zhang's first visit to Taiwan 36 years ago, when an art exhibition was held at the Kaohsiung Celebrity Gallery in 78 years of the Republic of China, 27 authentic works were stolen by the southern thief Xin Yuman and the northern thief Black Gold City overnight, causing a sensation throughout Taiwan. At that time, Black Gold City was invited by Xin Yuman to jointly destroy the security system and take the paintings away. According to today's market valuation, these paintings are worth at least 1.5 billion yuan. Black Gold City and Xin Yuman have joined forces to commit crimes many times, and both have been guided by jewelry thief Huang Zhonghua. After being arrested, he confessed that his motive for committing the crime was to keep the famous paintings with him, and was finally sentenced to 8 months in prison. News highlights Taiwanese writer Wu Danru once again showed a warm-hearted and helpful spirit and sponsored a poor overseas Chinese student who was admitted to the Department of Medicine of National Taiwan University. Due to the civil strife in his hometown, overseas Chinese students need to work in Taiwan to pay tuition and living expenses. Wu Danru not only invited him to work part-time in the company, but also paid tuition, accommodation, and part of the living expenses, hoping that he could concentrate on his studies. When this overseas Chinese student first arrived in Taiwan, he was short on money in the face of high consumption, but he felt the human touch of Taiwan. Wu Danru also mentioned that the overseas Chinese student still has a 12-year-old younger brother at home, and no one in the family shares the family finances, and she called on everyone to care for and encourage this child to study hard. News highlights artist Shen Yulan suffered from blood cancer, which attracted attention. Nutritionist Huang Pingsuan reminded not to stock up on cardboard boxes at home, because some inferior cartons may contain first-class carcinogens such as formaldehyde and benzene. She pointed out that there were mothers and daughters in mainland China who were suspected of suffering from leukemia due to their homes piled up with inferior cardboard boxes and long-term inhalation of toxic gases. Inferior cardboard boxes may use formaldehyde-containing inks during production, which can easily release toxic substances at high temperatures, and long-term exposure can irritate the respiratory tract, immune system, and even cause blood cancer or nasopharyngeal cancer. It is recommended to clean the carton regularly, maintain ventilation, and avoid storage in high-temperature environments to reduce risks. News highlights teacher Xiaomeng reminded that on August 23, the gates of hell open, the yin energy is the strongest, and accidents and evil spirits are frequent. During the ghost month, in addition to self-defense and avoidance, you can also attract wealth and blessings through 6 secret methods, including the 5 ghost luck method, red envelope bags containing coins to meditate on the landing of banknotes, taking more hot baths to increase yang energy, seeking medical treatment with sea salt to purify the aura, borrowing yin to develop yin, coins and ice water to water flowers to help partial wealth, splashing salt on mung beans and red beans to purify the house and attract wealth, and wearing wormwood to ward off evil spirits and attract blessings, which have both self-defense and wealth-gathering effects. News highlights Taichung City's tax revenue in 113 exceeded the budget by 75 billion yuan, triggering a discussion of general cash of 5 yuan, but the Municipal Finance Bureau pointed out that tax revenue is only part of the annual revenue, and Taichung still has a cumulative shortfall of 211 billion yuan, which is different from the central government's balance of 8,393 billion yuan. The city government emphasized that in recent years, it has invested in the construction and social welfare of the MRT Green Line, expressways, domes, etc., and financial resources need to be used carefully, insisting on spending money on the edge of the knife, and pointed out that the city government is gradually reducing debt and improving its financial structure, and it is not possible to directly distribute cash surpluses. News highlights the Trump administration plans to amend the CHIPS Act to change from subsidies to a direct stake in Intel by about 10%, which caused Intel's stock price to rise sharply, while TSMC's US stock ADR fell 3.61%. The reason is that foreign media broke the news that the United States may require all semiconductor companies that receive subsidies, including TSMC, Samsung, and Micron, to exchange equity for funds, which will hinder TSMC's development in the United States. This move stems from the United States' considerations of chip autonomy and national security, but experts warn that government intervention may drag down industrial competitiveness. News highlights Taiwan stocks opened lower today, affected by the sharp decline in U.S. technology stocks, once fell below the 24,000 point integer mark during the session, reaching a low of 23,734 points, and the weighted index fell 529.13 points to 23,824.37 points, with a turnover value of about 2,941 billion yuan. TSMC fell 40 yuan to 1,145 yuan intraday, Honhai fell 7 yuan to 201 yuan, and Mediatek fell 25 yuan to 1,365 yuan. The printed circuit board group generally weakened, with TEAO falling 5% and Jinzhou falling more than 9%, and high-tech ones hitting the limit of decline. Taiwan Glass also fell to 32.4 yuan intraday due to shareholders' declaration of transfer of shareholdings. Automation and robotics concept stocks performed against the decline. News highlights U.S. President Trump said that if he can facilitate a peace agreement in Ukraine, it will increase his chances of going to heaven, and humorously laughed at himself for his low chance of passing through the gates of heaven. The 79-year-old Trump has previously said he hopes to end the Russia-Ukraine war to compete for the Nobel Peace Prize, but he pointed out that the motivation is not entirely secular. Trump has been plagued by scandals in the past, including 3 marriages, 2 impeachments, and criminal convictions, but in recent years, his remarks have become more religious, and he mentioned in his inaugural speech in January this year that God saved him. His press secretary Lee Witt said he believed Trump was serious about this remark. News highlights AI technology is quickly integrated into marketing and products, but if it fails or misleads, brand risk increases. Cruise's self-driving car accident shows that even if the technology is not at fault, insufficient information disclosure can lead to a crisis of trust. The study pointed out that consumers have a low tolerance for AI mistakes, and the wrong experience can even spread to the entire industry. Common pitfalls include misleading naming, over-anthropomorphism, and preferred coding, which can exacerbate accountability and loss of trust. Companies should establish a crisis prevention framework by honestly disclosing AI limitations, emphasizing human-machine collaboration and secure design, and protecting brand and consumer confidence. News highlights yesterday, 19th, when the Taipei District Court held a trial, Kay angrily shouted before leaving the court, "If I am taken down, I will become Mandela, and the DPP will not be in power forever," and the presiding judge reminded not to increase the pressure of legal vigilance. People's Party Chairman Huang Qiuaqing said today, 20th, that appearing in court is the only opportunity for Kay Wentz to speak, emphasizing that criminal procedures should protect the rights of the parties. Regarding the rumor that Article 101 of the Criminal Procedure Law was amended to save Kay, Huang clarified that the amendment was not aimed at Kay, but to prevent the government from abusing detention and violating human rights. News highlights: AUO, a well-known panel manufacturer, acquired Adlink Technology in 2020, but recently broke out an insider trading case. Adlink's board of directors, Liu's family and shareholders surnamed who are suspected of using their relatives to operate stocks and illegally make profits of up to 1 million yuan. The eldest brother, surnamed Dong Zhou, involved in the case, is a winner of the Golden Bell Award for Broadcasting, and has won the top 10 Outstanding Youth Awards. News highlights: the 2025 Daedaokeng Summer Festival cancelled the fireworks and music performance on August 13 due to Typhoon Yangliu, and the Taipei Municipal Bureau of Tourism announced that a 300-second double fireworks show will be launched at 8 o'clock tonight, with a visual width of 600 meters, with the theme of Jinchinch Water Ripple, presenting the magnificent scene of Daedaokeng with golden and warm orange fireworks. The stage performance will start at 4:30 p.m., and relay performances by Paper Kite, Earl White, Near Band, and other relay performances. From 7 p.m., traffic control will be implemented on surrounding roads and wharf gates, and buses will be restricted, and it is recommended that the public take the MRT on foot. News highlights: after the DPP's defeat in the 726 recall, the voice of cabinet reshuffle heated up, and the first wave of personnel cases was reported. Although it has not been officially confirmed, the party is generally optimistic that Zhu Kuiyang has government experience and communication skills, and can help the party integrate non-rogue forces. Legislator Lin Zhengxian pointed out that President Lai Ching-te employs people regardless of faction, attaches importance to talents and abilities, and personnel reform will show a new atmosphere after 823. News highlights: after being diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, former leader of the Korean girl group Iris Kim Ji-won, IL, shaved her head for the first time after 3 months of treatment, admitting that the process was difficult but grateful for the support of her family and fans. She has completed the first 2 stages of treatment and is entering the 3rd stage, and will still need to undergo hematopoietic stem cell transplantation in the future. The doctor pointed out that in addition to chemotherapy, targeted and stem cell transplantation, TCM assistance can reduce side effects, enhance immunity, and help patients recover their physical strength, stabilize blood cells, and reduce the risk of recurrence by nourishing qi and yin, strengthening the spleen and stomach, and acupuncture. Jin Zaiwen hopes to recover as soon as possible and return to a healthy life. News highlights: in addition to appearance, price, and heat resistance, parents should pay attention to whether they contain bisphenol chemicals. In the past, water bottles often contained bisphenol A, BPA, which may affect animal nerves, reproduction, and development. Products labeled as BPA-free may be replaced with the alternative bisphenol S, BPS, which has similar side effects to BPA and can also interfere with the reproductive and nervous systems. Experts recommend choosing a water bottle made of safe and harmless materials to avoid potential health risks. News highlights: this year, 2025, the Legislative Yuan passed the amendment to the regulations on the implementation of Memorial Days and festivals, adding 5 new national holidays, arousing public expectations. Netizens found that there will be 3 consecutive holidays in October: Mid-Autumn Festival 10/4-10/6, National Day 10/10-10/12, and Liberation Day 10/24-10/26. People have discussed arranging tours, outlying island trips or overseas self-driving trips, believing that the October holiday has become the motivation to survive September's work. New holidays in the second half of the year also include 9/28 Teachers' Day, 10/25 Liberation Day and Kinmen to Victory Anniversary, 12/25 Constitution Day and Chinese New Year's Eve. News highlights: pharmacist Chen Jialing shared her experience of receiving medicine and pointed out that some people threw their health insurance cards to her at will, and even almost hit her face, making her feel uncomfortable. She reminded the public to pay attention to 5 things when receiving medicine: do not lose your health insurance card, do not use your mobile phone, do not knock on your health insurance card, do not jump the queue, and count your medicine in person. The post resonated with many pharmacists, with some sharing instances of patients throwing receipts, talking on the phone, or knocking on health insurance cards, believing that these behaviors were both impolite and affected work efficiency. News highlights: Lin Yusheng, former Secretary General of the Democratic Progressive Party, resigned after the defeat of the 726th National Congress, and was temporarily replaced by Deputy Secretary General He Bowen. It is rumored that after the second wave of 823 recall, party affairs will be reorganized simultaneously. It is reported that Su Kuai-ong, former Minister of the Interior of the British family, will take over as Party Secretary General, which is expected to be announced by Party Chairman Li King himself. Su Kuai-ong was once appreciated by Zhou Rongta, has rich experience in legislative elections, Taipei city councillors to legislators, and has hosted the program The First Courage in the Country, and has now resigned. A DPP spokesperson said that the selection of Secretary General is the responsibility of the party chairman. Legislator Su Hija said that Su Kuai-ong has good eloquence and outstanding government affairs and communication skills, making him a suitable candidate. News highlights: with the arrival of early autumn in September, the Soha Fortune column pointed out that the zodiac dragon, horse, monkey, pig, and tiger have outstanding financial luck. Long is good at leadership and network expansion, and has many opportunities for projects and cooperation. Horses have strong mobility, good work performance, side jobs and investments, and good luck. Monkey creativity is flexible, and the income from creative industries and social media is considerable. Pigs accumulate patience, and positive and passive income grows steadily. Tiger has the courage to explore, has many opportunities for promotion or entrepreneurship, and makes good use of resources and policy dividends, and financial luck is expected to increase significantly. News highlights: recently, some netizens received a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt, but he questioned the family rule that he wore a seatbelt when he got in the car, but the photo showed that he seemed to be not wearing it, which sparked discussion. Some netizens pointed out that the insulation paper being too black may cause misjudgment, and some people emphasized that the photo showed that it was indeed not tied according to regulations. Traffic safety regulations point out that seatbelts must be placed below the waist and shoulders above the upper end of the arms, not twisted, and properly tightened. The purpose of the fine is to remind the public to use seatbelts correctly to protect their own safety. News highlights: strong demand for AI servers drove PCB material stocks higher, with Fuqiao, 1,815, stock price soaring to 83.1 yuan, and Jinju, 8,358, hitting a record high of 190.5 yuan. Jinju pulled back more than 9% to 152 yuan during the session, and Fuqiao's stock price fell to 65.7 yuan due to the impact of split trading and major shareholders' shareholdings. Jinju's stock price soared from 62 yuan in early July to 190.5 yuan, and Fuqiao also rose from 41 yuan to 83.1 yuan. News highlights: a 17-year-old girl surnamed Zhou in Guangdong, China, was suspected of selling her 19-year-old boyfriend to a fraud park in Myanmar as a piglet, and after making a profit of 10 yuan, she also went to Thailand for a 10-day vacation. The victim's boyfriend was forced to work 16 to 20 hours a day, and if his performance did not meet the standards, he was severely beaten and imprisoned, resulting in hearing loss. After the family paid a ransom of 35 yuan, the boy was only rescued in June this year. The girl surnamed Zhou has been indicted on suspicion of fraud, and the trial was originally scheduled to be held at the end of July, but the trial has been postponed recently. News highlights: meteorological expert Lindeen warned that a new tropical disturbance will form in the eastern waters of the Philippines this Thursday, 21st, or Friday, 22nd, which may intensify into a typhoon and approach Taiwan. The U.S. model predicts that it will pass through the south side of the Bass Strait and close to Luzon Island on Friday, and will be closest to Taiwan and enter the South China Sea on Saturday to strengthen. The European model differs on its intensity, with some believing it to be just a tropical depression and others predicting that it could become a typhoon after entering the South China Sea. The public should pay attention to the latest meteorological information. News highlights: the Labor Insurance Bureau of the Ministry of Labor pointed out that since August, a number of allowances and pensions have been issued one after another, and today, 20th, the Old Farmers Allowance and Farmers Monthly Retirement Savings have been distributed. The Old Farmers Allowance is 8,110 yuan per month, half of which is 4,055 yuan for those with less than 15 years of experience, and the Agricultural Retirement Fund is jointly paid by farmers and the government, and can be withdrawn on a monthly basis after reaching the age of 65. Before the end of August, there are still 14 payments such as National Pension, Labor Insurance Annuity and Disaster Insurance Annuity, and the public can pay attention to the collection schedule according to the calendar of the Labor Insurance Bureau. News highlights: an accident occurred early this morning, 20th, in Dali District, Taichung City, where a 24-year-old man surnamed Hong was suspected of losing signs of life and appeared on the pier of Dali Bridge on Kuaguang Road. The preliminary investigation ruled out external intervention, and the detailed cause of death was to be clarified by the Wufeng branch and reported to the prosecutor for autopsy. The police call on the public to seek social resources and psychological counseling when encountering difficulties, and cherish life. News highlights: the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention of the Ministry of Health and Welfare announced today, 20th, that there were 2 new cases of severe neonatal cases of enterovirus type 11, namely an 8-day-old baby boy in the central region and a 5-day-old baby girl in the south. The CDC pointed out that severe neonatal enterovirus cases often deteriorate rapidly within 5 days of onset, with a total of 10 cases of severe neonatal disease and 6 deaths this year. News highlights: recently, it was reported that former Minister of the Interior Su Kuiyong will take over as Secretary General of the Democratic Progressive Party, which was announced by President Li King himself. Senior media person Xia Hanbing analyzed that this personnel layout shows Li King's determination to toughly promote political strategies, and the 823 recall cannot be stopped. He pointed out that Su Kuiyong has a good tacit understanding with the current Premier Zhou Rongta, and Su Kuiyong has dared to criticize the opposition party in the past, implying that the DPP will continue to fight the opposition party strongly, and may even use judicial and legal means to operate, indicating that the political situation may be more turbulent. News highlights: DPP legislator Lin Dehua was originally a popular candidate for the mayor of Kaohsiung in 2026, but he was recently prosecuted for fraudulently receiving assistant fees, and it was rumored that he had an ambiguous conversation with Shi Huangji, the abbot of Tongfa Temple, which attracted attention. Numerologist Li Jingwei analyzed Lin Dehua's fleeting years and pointed out that her personality and soul cards are Fool and Emperor, innocent on the outside but strong on the inside, and easy to be unaware of danger. Li pointed out that this year, Lin Dehua will take the hanging year, may be frustrated by feelings and lawsuits, and will enter the death year in the future. News highlights: more than half of the world's population may have been infected, and long-term presence can cause gastritis, ulcers, and increase the risk of stomach cancer by 16 times. Antibiotic therapy is the main treatment, and 3-in-1 or 4-in-1 therapy can effectively remove 95% of bacteria, and it needs to be combined with antacids and other stomach medications to repair ulcers and reduce the risk of cancer. During treatment, avoid drinks that stimulate stomach acid, such as milk, coffee, and tea, and maintain a healthy diet. Regular health check UPS and following professional physician guidance are key to preventing pylori-related diseases and maintaining stomach health. News highlights: the recent tense situation in the Taiwan Strait has attracted international attention. In addition to strengthening traditional armaments, China also continues to expand its nuclear arsenal and plans to have combat capabilities against Taiwan by 2027. Although the official reiterated the no first-use policy and the Chinese Ministry of National Defense said that nuclear war cannot be won or fought, the US and Pentagon reports pointed out that China may use nuclear weapons first in some cases, especially if conventional military operations against Taiwan fail and threaten the survival of the regime. According to the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, China currently has about 600 nuclear warheads, builds about 350 new missile launch facilities, and will have more than 1,000 operational nuclear warheads by 2030, indicating the rapid expansion of nuclear weapons. News highlights: benefiting from the PCB market, the stock prices of Taiwan Glass, 1,802, and Fuqiao, 1,815, have soared recently, but due to the news of the transfer of shareholdings by major shareholders and directors, the stock prices of the 2 demon stocks fell sharply on the 20th. Taiwan Glass applied for 40 shares because of the wife of the president, and fell to the limit at the opening. The news of Fuqiao's transfer of 100 shareholdings also dragged down the stock price, once hitting the limit of 65.7 yuan, and the intraday decline was slightly converged. Previously, the 2 stock prices had hit new highs in the band, with an increase of more than 180%, but the short-term bearish pressure caused the market to take profits. News highlights: Taiwan stocks were hit by the news that the U.S. Department of Commerce was considering investing in TSMC on the 20th, driven by TSMC, which fell more than 550 points, and the selling pressure on PCB concept stocks broke out. However, due to the second highest profit rewrite in the first half of the year, foreign capital made up for it, and investment trusts increased, and the stock price frequently hit the daily limit of 113 yuan, driving yuan upward. Nanzadian's EPS in the first half of 2025 was 5.61 yuan, and the third quarter continued to grow, driven by demand for AI and industrial automation, with a bandwidth increase of 276.67%, a new high in the long band since the fourth quarter of 1997. News highlights: the U.S. Department of Commerce is studying subsidies in exchange for equity in semiconductor companies, including Micron, TSMC, Samsung, and Intel. The CHIPS and Science Act originally provided investment incentive subsidies, and TSMC received at least $1.5 billion in funding last year and legally fulfilled its factory construction commitment. People familiar with the matter pointed out that Intel may agree to the government's shareholding, but TSMC declined to comment, emphasizing that as long as there is fair competition, companies are not afraid of challenges. Analysts believe that TSMC's process advantages and sufficient cash are not the key to subsidies, and if the United States intervenes excessively, it may hit the willingness to invest in the United States. News highlights: Taiwan stocks opened lower on the 20th, with TSMC falling to 1,140 yuan and 45 yuan during the session, dragging the market down more than 600 points, and the index hit a low of 23,708 points. Only a few theme stocks on the market bucked the trend and resisted the decline, and HTC stock price rose to a maximum of 59.4 yuan intraday due to the new AI glasses Vive Eagle theme, and Damai also performed against the decline. Analysts are optimistic about the trend of AI medical care, pointing out that AI glasses are gradually gaining attention in medical applications, and concept stocks such as China Optoelectronics, HTC, Damai, and Yingji can pay attention to layout opportunities. News highlights: the popular girl group Twice announced that they will hold a world tour, Twice World Tour in Kaohsiung at the main venue of the Kaohsiung World Games on November 22, which is also the first time they have sung in Taiwan in the 10 years since their debut. The tour will adopt a 360-degree stage design, bringing an unprecedented performance experience. The Toiwan ticketing system will be fully launched on August 28, and DBS MasterCard card holders can enjoy pre-sale. Twice has repeatedly set records with many best-selling songs and stage charm, winning the Billboard Women's Music Award for Best Breakthrough and becoming the first girl group to perform in major stadiums in North America and Japan. News highlights: 2 years after breaking up with his girlfriend Anna of 4 years, Sun Anzuo, the second generation of stars, finally had a new relationship. On the evening of the 19th, he was photographed by readers on a sweet date with his new girlfriend in Ximending, and the two held hands and snuggled up and flashed in public, not avoiding people's eyes at all. It is reported that Sun Anzuo also took his girlfriend to watch the premiere of the movie Jiaodu, Overfight, performed by his father, and the relationship seems to have been made public. The agent expressed his gratitude to his girlfriend for accompanying and taking care of Sun Anzuo, but the length of the relationship has not yet been disclosed. Anna, who broke up before, said that the two parties are still friends after the breakup and respect each other's freedom. News highlights: after mainland actor Chen Xiao and Taiwanese actress Chen Yangzi divorced in February, it was recently rumored that he and Mao Xiaotong had a new relationship, and it was even rumored that he had obtained a marriage certificate. In this regard, Mao Xiaotong's studio issued a refutation on the 19th, emphasizing that fake Ms. Mao Xiaotong is unmarried and single. Not together and never together. And marked the rumor post as false information, denying all rumors. News highlights: Douyin internet celebrity Ange Fragmented Thoughts Pan Junan held a press conference today, 20th, to issue a statement on domestic violence allegations, economic and drug concerns, apologized to the family of sister-in-law An, and said that all details have been submitted to the judicial investigation and will fully cooperate. The drug test result was negative, and the company loan was jointly guaranteed by him and sister-in-law. He choked up and said that he had been dating sister-in-law An for 7 years and regarded him as his wife, and after his death, he hoped to take care of his family on her behalf, emphasizing that he would respect the judicial results and fulfill his responsibilities. News highlights: after the documentary In the Name of Survivors, Deep into the Korean Tragedy was broadcast, victim Ye Xian revealed that the leader of the Korean cult Providence Church Zhang Mingzi sexually assaulted her. She posted on IG after the show aired, saying, "It's all over," and married Hong Kong star Fang Lishan. The two welcomed a new life this year. Ye Xian started an ordinary life again, and her husband has always been an important pillar for her to get out of the haze. News highlights: meteorological expert Lindeen pointed out that a new tropical disturbance may form off the eastern coast of the Philippines this week, which is expected to form from 8/21 to 8/22 and move from east to west. The U.S. model predicts that the disturbance will pass through the south side of the Bashi Strait after being generated on August 22, close to Luzon Island, and the center of 8/23 will be closest to Taiwan, and the probability of becoming a typhoon after entering the South China Sea is high. The European model suggests that the intensity may only reach that of a tropical depression, but some simulations suggest that it can intensify into a typhoon. News highlights: a camper van explosion occurred on the 16th in Orchard Beach, Maine, USA, and 2 women died when they lit candles in the car to celebrate their birthday. At the time of the incident, they smelled a peculiar smell and tried to ventilate, but they were still seriously injured by the explosion and sent to the hospital and pronounced dead. The local fire department preliminarily determined that it may be related to the failure of the camper's propane system or the gas stove not turning off. The gas stove caused gas leakage. The camping area said it would be with the family and pray. News highlights: after an all-night interrogation by the new Taipei District Prosecutor's Office, he was released on bail of 300 yuan and restricted from leaving the country, going to sea and technology monitoring. His younger brother Zheng Yingjin and son League Deputy Leader Hong Ruheng paid 200 yuan and 100 yuan respectively. The prosecutor's investigation found that the gang operated corporate money laundering by acquiring small and medium-sized companies and installing head employees, and the capital flow reached 1 billion yuan in the past 4 years. This time, the task force, together with the National Taxation Bureau, investigated gang organizations for the first time in the corporate crime model, and continued to trace the whereabouts of other people involved in the case and funds. News highlights: on the morning of the 20th, an accident occurred in Yancheo District, Kaohsiung, where steel from a large truck fell and broke a utility pole, causing a power outage to 513 households. The perpetrator was a 67-year-old man surnamed Wang, who fell while driving because the cargo was not properly secured, but fortunately there were no casualties. Wang Nan did not drink and drive after preliminary testing, but he had violated the law and was fined according to regulations. Taipower said that power has been restored to 439 households, and the remaining 74 households continue to be repaired, and will seek compensation from the perpetrators for losses. News highlights: Russian President Vladimir Putin has recently made frequent public appearances, shaking his knees and left foot during talks with US President Trump, which has aroused attention and speculation from the outside world, and some media even speculate that he may wear a light exoskeleton to narrow the height difference. Doctors pointed out that foot shaking is mostly due to anxiety, stress, restless leg syndrome, ADHD, or genetic factors, and is mostly a stress-relieving behavior of the body, and in most cases, it does not hinder health. If it affects sleep or quality of life, it is recommended to seek medical attention. News highlights: the White House officially opened the official TikTok account at White House on the 19th to convey Trump's policy message to young people through the short video platform. In the first video, Trump shouted, "I am your voice." And the account caption read, "America, we are back. What's up, TikTok?" The White House emphasized that this move is to strengthen communication with diverse audiences and continue Trump's strategy of using TikTok to interact with young people during the election campaign. However, due to TikTok's background in China, national security concerns remain, and U.S. law requires TikTok to sell its U.S. business before January 19 this year, and the deadline has been extended to September 17. News highlights: on August 18, the Taipei MRT Bannan line adjusted some trains to depart from Jiangsu QI station, which was originally intended to alleviate peak congestion, but caused passengers in Bangqiao and Xinpu to complain that they still can't squeeze in after waiting for 20 minutes, and the platform was crowded like New Year's Eve, causing public complaints. Beijing said it would make rolling adjustments, but the incident highlighted the hidden concerns of system fairness and insufficient transportation energy. Experts suggest that rotating starting policies, intelligent scheduling and real-time information guidance should be considered, and flexible work and differential fares should be promoted to disperse the flow of people. The Bannan line crisis shows that urban transportation is not only a matter of schedule, but also about fare distribution and institutional resilience. News highlights: according to the latest statistics from the Ministry of the Interior, in the second half of 2024, the proportion of low-use housing in the country reached 9.79%, about 91.4 thousand households, a new high in the past 6 years, with Tainan and Kaohsiung having the highest proportion and Zhuangbei having the lowest. Experts pointed out that the large number of projects in the rezoning area and the hoarding of houses by investors have led to indigestion in the market, and the number of new existing houses for sale has exceeded 11 for the first time, reflecting the oversupply of the housing market. Although there is a hoarding tax 2.0 and a rental escrow policy, the benefits are limited, and investors would rather sell idle houses at a price, and the problem of vacant houses may continue to worsen. News highlights: Taipei City was once the core of Taiwan's resources and glory, but now it has caused serious population migration due to high housing prices and high living costs. In the first 3 months of 2025, nearly 40,000 people will move out, and the city's population will fall below the 250 mark. Most of the migrant population flows to New Taipei and Daowen, forming a one-hour living circle. Even more serious is the aging problem, with the proportion of people over 65 years old reaching 23.69%, and the dual attack of aging and outflow may weaken the tax base and urban vitality. Experts believe that Taipei should see this as an opportunity for transformation and rebuild its urban identity through social housing policies, cross-domain governance, and cultural regeneration, so that people will be willing to stay.